I'm terrified of reaching 100 pounds. So it started like, they're kind of two different stories. So first of all, I had like a really bad relationship. It was kind of verbally abusive. He said things like, you're too fat for my friends to be around you. Like, I don't think you deserve to be with a guy like me. Like, I'm in shape, you're not. And this is kind of weird, but I was watching a documentary with my mom one day on eating disorders. It was about this like little girl who stopped eating and she dropped a dramatic amount of weight. And instead of like kind of being disgusted by it kind of made me think that this little girl, she could drop so much weight so quickly. Why couldn't I? Coming to high school and all of a sudden actually transforming, not from a girl to a woman. Just seeing my body change and gain weight and have curves. It was kind of weird and I didn't like it. So I remember feeling like I had to stop myself from eating. And when I did eat, I felt like I had to make myself throw up. The thing was, like, I felt like I was with all my extracurriculars in school, I felt like I almost didn't have the time to work out. Like, I would work out, but I would purge more. It is such a weird feeling after a while because you become addicted to it. Feeling hungry gave me incentive to put other feelings in front of it because like I didn't want to feel hungry. I mean, it hurt a lot. I honestly put a lot of schoolwork load on myself, and so I'd use the stress to overpower the hunger itself. When I was hungry, I did my best schoolwork because I was just working so hard in order to kind of cancel out the feelings that I was having. It became less of something painful and more of like an addiction, an addictive feeling. When I was full, I felt sluggish, I felt dumb for eating that much, I felt like I needed to purge somehow, and so the feeling of hunger became an addiction in that sense, to actually craving that kind of feeling, because if I didn't feel like that, then something was wrong. Before I had my eating disorder and everything, I love sweets, I love desserts, I love cakes, I love anything that's chocolatey. Of course, during a bake sale, you get something to eat. But I know I just felt like buying something, buying a brownie, buying a little cookie was just guilt. I remember I ate one brownie one day, and this was when it was all starting, and I felt like the urge to throw up. So I went to the bathroom and I made myself throw up, and the hardest part was trying to make sure that to go back out and seem like everything was okay. I really did believe that I did not have a problem, and it wasn't until I actually had a day where I couldn't get out of bed because like I physically was so exhausted. I had no energy. I hadn't eaten anything in probably 3 days. So my dad threatened to send me to rehab because he wanted to convince me that I did have a problem and I did need help. I don't know really like what you could call rock bottom, but there is gonna be one point, whether it be socially or physically or emotionally, where you realize that you've hit a point where you need to change. And I think everyone will have that kind of experience. I remember I stepped onto the scale and it didn't work, and so I asked my mom what was wrong with it, and she told me that the scale, like she dropped the scale this morning and the battery fell out. Some part of me just got so upset. I remember I started screaming at her, "No, you took out the battery. I know that you're not going to allow me to weigh myself." I finally got it out of her, and she said, "Yes, I took it. I took out the battery, but it was but it was only because I was trying to protect you." But what shocked me the most was how I reacted and how upset I was, and how how angry I got at my mom. The way I was screaming at her, the way it was almost like it was so full of hatred. Like I couldn't, like that was my life, and that was like what I needed. I think what happened was that it was such a daily thing where I would weigh myself 3 times a day in the morning when I woke up, when I got home from school, and before I went to bed. Having that take over you and making that seem like it's your whole life, just how obsessed I got, and how much just took over everything was just the most scary thing.
The whole thing was also a coping mechanism for me. Like when something got bad, that's what I resorted to. That's what it ended up as being. When something gets hard to deal with, it's almost like a sense of relief to do.
You know, I still ritually throw up and I still ritually don't eat. So while I feel healthy sometimes and I am feeling healthier than I was, it causes a lot of issues, and I'll never truly be 100% in high school.